Welcome to InterPartyConflict, the podcast where we answer your questions so you can have the best tabletop gaming experience possible. My name is Gabe.
My name is Jeff.
And we're going to answer your questions today. But first, I have a question. Jeff.
Yep.
How are you doing today?
I'm okay.
Okay.
I have just got off of a cold.
Yeah.
And I now have bronchitis.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
So like I'm super congested and like my throat hurts, and so listeners at home, you're gonna notice that I'm gonna be talking very quietly and probably not as much. So
yeah. I might crank up your track.
Yeah. If you could, if you just boost me up a little bit, and I might start to lose my voice pretty quickly.
Sure. This might be a bit of a shorter.
Yeah,
episode.
and I do apologize, but
hey,
it's that time of the year. Yeah,
it happens. And for a few weeks, I've noticed, like, editing the last few episodes. For the last few weeks, like, my voice has been getting. I'm not sick or anything, or at least, like, I mean, I'm the level of sick that I always am.
Right.
But I don't know. My voice has been getting kind of like scratchy and such too.
Yeah.
And so. Speaking of which, I don't know. I guess I apologize to any listeners.
It's wintertime. It's dry out.
Yeah.
It's just, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But we're here.
Yeah, we're here. We will do our best to bring you a good episode today.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that there is a zoo. I guess it's not technically a zoo. It's more like a petting zoo than a full zoo in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Which is like maybe 30 minutes from us. The weather was nice yesterday. As the day that we recorded this, it was nice the day before.
Yeah, it's been pretty good the last couple of days.
Yeah, and Lisa has been wanting to get me to go to this little. It's called like the Creature Conservancy, I think.
Okay,
is what it is. Anyway, Lisa wanted to go there for a while, so we went there yesterday. We saw some animals. You know, got to like pet a toad, like a really big frog. I think it was. It's called a pixie frog. They're like these giant super fat frogs. But anyway. There were some turtles in this big container.
Yeah, I think I saw a picture of you with a tortoise, I think.
That was on that was a different one though. Okay. I did get a picture with the tortoise, but there were turtles in like a big water tank.
Yeah.
And there were a bunch of mostly red-eared sliders, which are a good breed of turtle.
Right.
But I was looking in this tank for a little while and I didn't even notice it for a long time because it was so big. There was this gigantic snapping turtle in there too.
Ooh.
And I'm just bringing it up because at that moment, I understood the Zaratan, which is like the D&D monster that is a turtle so big that like cities or whatever are built on their backs.
Yeah, people just think it's an island.
Yeah. Like I could totally understand someone not realizing like, oh no, this is a creature.
Right.
Just because it's a big giant thing in a place that you weren't expecting to see a big giant thing.
Right.
And maybe it isn't moving very quickly. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I get it now. Yeah.
Right. So it's a nice
one could mistake an animal for an island.
There you go.
Or at least a rock.
Yeah. But we really liked going there. I think we might actually try to have a birthday party for Lisa there when her birthday comes around. We'll see. We'll see.
Skylar and I sometimes go to there's like a petting farm not too far from Ann Arbor. That Domino's.
We
farm.
drive by there all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've gone there last 2 years, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just kind of nice. It's like, it's a nice place to go though. It's like nice out, and you know, like you can pet some like cows and goats and stuff, and you know, nothing too crazy, but it's fun.
All right. You want to go ahead and jump into the episode?
Yeah.
Okay. Jeff.
Yep.
You're in a tavern.
Okay.
And you order a drink and you drink it. And it's very strong. It's a lot stronger than you were expecting.
Uh-oh.
Give me a Constitution saving throw.
All right. I've been here before. Yeah, that sounds about right.
No. All right. So
rolled a 4.
Everything goes black.
Yep.
You wake up. You've got some lipstick on your collar. You've got less money than you were expecting. You have the same amount of money, but all of your money is in different denominations.
Okay.
Than you had before.
Right.
You find a note in your pocket that has like half of the digits of a phone number and says, "Call me." But then also you find inside your bag what appears to be a rolled up piece of parchment.
Oh, okay.
And
maybe it's the rest of the phone number.
Well, then you see that there's somebody has like written on the outside of it. They said, Jeff, thanks for all your help last night. Here's a little thank you.
Okay.
And so what do you
do? Look at the parchment.
Okay. Yeah. You unroll it.
Yeah.
And it appears to be a map.
Ooh.
And do you know where this map goes, Jeff?
Where's it going?
The Dragon's Hoard. Today's magic item was submitted by Arcanist Winterbrand via email. And the item that they submitted, they actually submitted a few of these, so we might be doing these over the next few episodes.
Okay.
The first one is Thought Thief Gloves. These leather gloves bear the visage of a mind flayer, tentacles extending down the length of each finger.
We've done this one.
We have not. We did one that has a picture that this is very close to.
Really?
The actual...
Are you sure?
I'm sure. The actual, like, because I'll say what it actually does.
Okay.
Those were like the Mind Mugger mitts.
The Mind Mugger mitts.
Yeah, no, this is something else. Okay. The description is very similar.
All right.
The ability is different.
Okay.
As a bonus action, you hold your hand outstretched toward an enemy within 5 feet. They must make a wisdom saving throw, DC 10 plus charisma modifier plus your proficiency. On a fail, they are stunned until the beginning of your next turn. These gloves have 2 charges and recover on a short or long rest.
Okay.
So yeah, this one, I don't remember exactly what that one did, but I think that was more like skill-based or something.
That one was... I can't remember exactly. I think one of it gave you proficiency on sleight of hands, could basically erase the memory erase someone's memory for like 1 round or something like that.
Sure.
It could if you failed a pickpocket, you could basically erase their memory so they didn't remember the pickpocket ever happening.
Right. That's what that item did. So this one, I will say that the name is a bit misleading because upon hearing the name of this, it sounds exactly like that other item.
Right, yeah.
Especially because there is a description that is similar to that other thing. Yeah. I don't necessarily think that Arcanist Winterbrand stole that idea or anything. It's an evocative idea. I'm sure lots of people have had this sort of idea. But I would rebrand it a bit. I like that it is Mind Flayer themed. I like that it's basically just you stun someone like a Mind Flayer would.
Yeah.
I would recommend a different name. I don't know what name.
Sure.
Maybe like Stunning Blast Gloves or something like that. I don't know. But I like what it does. It's basically a twice per rest stun. Pretty powerful, I think. But cool.
Sap gloves. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know the rogues in World of Warcraft, there was a ability called Sap.
Right.
I think a Sap is a
it was a non-lethal weapon.
It's a non-lethal weapon. It's basically just like a sack of something
it's a sack of bars of soap or something.
Yeah, it's just like a soft club basically that you go, you pop them over the head and knocks them out.
That sound effect was in studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like the theming of this, but I do think that the name implies that it does steal thoughts or something like that.
Sure.
Which it doesn't. Maybe if there were more flavor in what it does.
Sure. It's
not that it just stuns you. It would be it steals your memory of the next 6 seconds or something.
Right. Yeah. It makes you forget everything, and in your confusion, you're stunned for a round or whatever.
Something like that. Because hey, I love Mind Flayers. I think their Mind Blast or whatever is one of the coolest things in D&D.
Yeah.
So yeah, having the ability to do that yourself, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
It is powerful, but the range is pretty short. It's melee range.
5 feet. Yeah, you can only what's that? Short rest? You get it back?
2 charges on a short rest.
And that's fairly powerful, but not crazy.
Yeah. If this were like a tactical RPG, like a video game that we were playing, like Final Fantasy Tactics or something like that.
Yeah. I
could see this being something that this is just a class ability that anybody can use. I like what this item does. I think it's a neat item.
Mm-hmm.
My only issue is just with just a little bit of rebranding. I think would go a long way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, there isn't really much else to this item. It's a pretty simple item, but like I said, it's cool. Again, just a little bit of a change in either the name or how it is described, how the effect works.
Sure, yeah. Because
it'd definitely be effective and not too powerful. I mean powerful, especially because it's twice per short rest.
Yeah, and stun for a round twice per short rest. That's a decent like class feature kind of thing,
Yeah. All right, so those were the Thought Thief gloves from Arcanist Winterbrand. So thank you very much, Arcanist. Jeff, if anybody wanted to be like Arcanist Winterbrand here and submit magic items for the Dragon's Hoard, or stories for the Funeral Pyre or Retirement Village, or questions for us to discuss in our main segment, how would they get those to us?
They could send us an email at interpartyconflict@gmail.com, or they can join us at our Interparty Discord at bit.ly/interpartydiscord.
That's correct. And before we go any further, we have a giveaway to give away today.
Oh, yeah?
We are giving away a copy of Unearthed Tips and Tricks Volume 1, courtesy of Crit Academy. Crit Academy is one of the other podcasts on the Crit Nation Fellowship. The Unearthed Tips and Tricks book is a great supplement that I helped write, actually, and it's full of character concept and encounter concepts, monster variants, magic items, player tips, and DM tips, and it's great. There's lots of great stuff in there, and I'm currently working on Volume 2.
Ooh.
So I think Justin wanted to get that out later this year, probably summer or something like that.
Sure,
but yeah, we are happy to be giving out copies of this. Of course, thanks to Justin for facilitating this. So, Jeff, who is our winner this episode?
This episode, our winner is Doug A.
Winner! Gobble, gobble, gobble. Yes, congratulations, Doug A. You should be getting an email pretty soon. Once you get that, be sure to leave Crit Academy a review so that they can continue to make good products and so on. And also, possibly if you have any specific comments, send some to me as well, because like I said, I'm working on Volume 2, so I can try and put that towards whatever my part is in the next book. I'd like to put out as good of a product as possible.
Yeah.
And Jeff, if anybody else wanted to enter this drawing, if they want to be like Doug A here and get a free copy of this adventure, how would they do that?
Send us an email at interpartyconflict@gmail.com with Unearthed Tips and Tricks in the subject line.
Yep, that's true. And then you can of course put anything you want in the body.
Right.
Maybe a picture of something cool, a picture of a Zaratan, maybe from D&D, the big turtles. Yeah, it's up to you. The world is your oyster.
Maybe a picture of an oyster.
Maybe a picture of an oyster. Yes. All right. And then, of course, we want to thank all of our wonderful patrons for helping make this episode happen. Patreon is an online platform where you can pledge a certain amount of money per month to the creator of your choice. And if that is us, hopefully, then if you pledge to us, you'll get some cool stuff in return. We got outtakes. We've got monthly bonus podcast. We just put out a week or so ago an episode about board games that we talked about. We talked about our favorite board games on there.
Yep.
We've also got a monthly Roll20 game for our top tier patrons. We did ours a couple weeks ago, and it was a ton of fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I hope to have a sequel to that coming up pretty soon in the next couple weeks. I'll probably be contacting our patrons about that pretty soon. Yeah, so we've got some cool stuff on there. If you want to help out the show and get some cool stuff in return, you can go to patreon.com/interpartyconflict. So check out the rewards, see if anything appeals to you, and then, you can help us keep the lights on and get some rewards for it.
Cool.
And then just one more thing, check out the other podcasts on the Crit Nation Fellowship. I already mentioned Crit Academy. You can check them out at critacademy.com. Crit Academy is a podcast where Justin, Ian, and Brandon create new and reusable content for players and DMs alike. We've also got Brute Force and Ignorance on the network. They are an actual play podcast, so check them out. And one of the members of Brute Force and Ignorance just had a child.
Oh.
Dan West. He was one of the guests we had on a year ago.
No, yeah.
A little less than a year ago, like 7 or 8 months ago.
Sure.
Yeah, his wife just had a baby, so congratulations to them.
Cool.
And then also check out D&D Character Lab. Garen and Dan made characters every week and pitted them against each other. They're not making any more episodes, but you can still go listen to the ones that are still there, and they're great.
Yep, they're very good.
Yes. So got a great network here. Check them out. Let's get into this episode.
Okay.
For our listeners, it's most likely will have been cut out. We have been struggling with every smoke alarm in my house has started beeping like the battery is dead.
Right.
All at random intervals.
Yeah. And
never the same one twice in a row.
Right. It's like every time we think we got one, there's another one, or it's one of the ones we already got. I don't know what's going on.
I have physically removed several of them and put them outside in the hopes that they don't interrupt our recording anymore, but we still keep hearing it, and I can't, because we're in a different room. And I have to stop recording and then go and search it out. I don't know which one is making the noise.
So, a little behind the scenes frustration on this one.
Sorry.
Okay.
Anyway.
Our first question comes from Arcanist Winterbrand. This was on email, and they ask, do you think DMs should be allowed to assign class levels to existing monster stat blocks?
Yeah.
I know that in 3rd edition... I don't know if they dealt with it much in 3.5, but like 3rd edition had a book called Savage
Species.
Savage Species, right. And it did a few things like added like I think like templates or something for some monsters, because like templates were a thing, and like you could add class levels to a monster fairly easily.
Yeah, Savage Species was about it had a bunch of different ways of doing it, but it was all about playing monsters as PCs.
Right.
And DMs, of course, could use the same stuff for beefing up their monsters.
And one of the things it did was it would take, you could basically take a monster and like divide its abilities up into a class.
Yeah.
So that you could play a Mind Flayer, but you're going to start off as a level 1 Mind Flayer where you don't have quite the ability. You have like level 1 abilities. And as you level up, so like basically by the time you get to like level 20, you're, or by the time you get to whatever their CR would be, I think.
Whatever their equivalent class level would be.
Right. So you would then have the abilities of that. And I think maybe some of them even continued further on to like more advanced versions. Because in most cases, I think they try to like build out like either like maybe like 10 levels or maybe up to 20 levels, depending on how like strong the creature was. Mm-hmm. So that was one thing in 3rd edition, which I really liked that book, because that actually,
it was a good book.
It had some good feats in it too, because the feats were geared towards monstrous races. Mm-hmm.
But anybody could use them if they met the criteria.
Right. Exactly.
So it is important to establish which version of the game you're playing when asking this question. Let's assume 5th edition. Most of our questions that come in are about 5th edition D&D.
Right.
If this were 3rd edition, then no problem with that whatsoever. That is kind of a big part of the game, is if you want to use a specific monster but they're not powerful enough, there were 2 main ways of beefing them up. One was to add class levels. The other was to advance them by like giving them additional, quote unquote, like they were called hit dice, but it's not the same thing that hit dice is in 5th edition. Basically, you could give them additional levels of that monster, which would in turn give them more hit points, more attack bonus, and so on. So giving them class levels was a much preferred way because it was more interesting. It wasn't just the stats.
A little warning here: I'm going to be using a cough drop. So if you hear mouth noises, I apologize, but I'll try to keep it to a minimum.
So in 3rd edition, there really wasn't any problem with this. Like the game was set up to be monsters or NPCs were basically the same as PCs. You were encouraged as the dungeon master to stat out NPCs the same way you would stat out a PC. It was at pretty much any ability that an enemy had. In theory, there was a way for a player to get it to. Whether that was a good idea or not, I guess that's to be debated, but that's how that edition was set up. That edition was pretty explicit in monsters are just PCs with different classes.
Right.
Essentially, especially with Savage Species setting it up exactly as that.
Yeah.
Now, 4th edition started the trend that 5th edition has followed, in that monsters are not set up that way anymore. Monsters are no longer set up to be analogous to PCs. When you have an NPC, when you have a monster, they pretty much are statted out to have specific abilities because that's what abilities the encounter is going to call for. And they are, I've said before, and I'll say it again, NPCs or monsters do not serve the same role in a game that PCs do.
Right.
If a PC has an ability that is once per day, they're probably going to use that a lot over the course of the campaign. They're going to use one, at the beginning of the adventure. The players will take a long rest and they'll use that ability again, and so on and so on.
Right.
If a monster has a once per day ability, it might as well be once ever. Because how often are you fighting a monster that you have encountered on a previous day?
Right, yeah.
Occasionally, but that's not the norm.
Right, yeah. Usually when you encounter a monster, you defeat it.
Exactly.
It's dead.
Like most monsters are meant to be there for one encounter, tax some of your resources, and then ultimately die.
Right. Even a recurring villain, like you don't see them once a day, every day.
Sure.
You see them once. Maybe they escape, or maybe they defeat you and you run away or something.
Right. And again, it's a topic for a different day, whether that is good or whether the 3rd edition model was better.
Sure.
Who knows?
Yeah.
There's reasons for both. I liked both. I liked in 3rd edition and I like it now. But in 5th edition, if you look at a monster, they're going to have abilities that players simply aren't meant to have. A lot of the time I see people on Reddit or such asking like, hey, is there any way for my character to get legendary actions? And the response is, oh, you don't understand what legendary actions are for, do you?
Right, yeah.
Because legendary actions exist because the party is meant to have 4 or 5 members and the monster is probably meant to be one monster.
Right.
So,
and because it's a legendary monster, it's hard to make one creature as strong as a whole party.
Exactly, because of action economy and so on. To give a PC legendary actions is to defeat the whole purpose of legendary actions, because PCs already have more actions. That's why you're giving additional actions to the monster.
Right. I could see maybe like if a group was small, and that might be a way for a DM to kind of help balance a small party.
Sure.
Give them a legendary action type thing, maybe. Or like if you got far into a campaign and then the party and then like the player, like suddenly half your players couldn't play anymore or something like that.
Yeah.
You could give everybody like a legendary action. So like, okay, well, I already wrote the next 3 adventures for 6 people and now there's only 3. You all get 2 actions per turn or something like that. Sure.
Or even I could see in like a climactic encounter, maybe like they're fighting the big boss of the campaign, and then like, I don't know, the god that has been guiding the PCs the whole time, like uses the last of their power to give the players this like divine ability.
In the same way that you did that it was in the Age of Worms. Was like we went out and got these artifacts or something that helped us fight the last guy.
Right.
Like we found that we got an orb of destruction. I forget what else.
Sphere of Annihilation. That's the one. You just did the Google Translate version.
Yeah, sorry.
Of Sphere of Annihilation.
Right. I get the open source version.
Sure.
But yeah, we got Sphere of Annihilation. I feel like we picked up a couple other things or something to kind of help.
Yeah. You went and you depowered the bad guy and so on. There were if that is the purpose of the encounter.
Yeah.
That could be a really cool way for you to momentarily feel like, oh my goodness, I'm so powerful. I'm a big bad right now.
Right, yeah.
You know, that could be cool. But the point of all of this is that monsters you set up a monster one way, you set up PCs another way. PC classes tend to have tons of abilities because over the course of an adventuring day or over the course of an adventure or over the course of a campaign, you're going to have so many opportunities to use all of those abilities.
Yeah.
If you give a goblin 12 spells they can cast, they're going to get to cast a spell. They're going to get to cast one of those because then the next round they're going to die because they're only meant to be there for one round or whatever.
Yeah. If you give a goblin a cookie.
If you teach a goblin to cookie, it will cookie for the rest of its life. If you build a man a fire, he'll be warm for an hour. If you set a man on fire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life.
Oh, goodness.
So anyway, if just the two are, they may look similar, they may feel similar, but fundamentally in a game, they serve different purposes. So to stat out, anytime I hear that a DM has statted out an NPC like a PC, like they've given them class levels, a character sheet, they've rolled for their stats.
They, in a way, they made a character.
They made a character.
Yeah.
And okay, that's not inherently bad.
Right.
It could lead to them. I mean, if it's an NPC, it could lead to DMPC territory. And
Right.
That's a discussion we've had before. But most of the time, at the very least, they just wasted a ton of time because so much of that is not going to be coming out in the game.
Right.
So I guess to answer the question, do you think they should be allowed to? Well, sure. I mean, DMs can do whatever they want. If a DM wants to stat out give a monster class levels, if it's going to enhance their game in some way, sure, go for it. Do whatever, Dungeon Masters, do whatever you have to do in order to make a good game. However, you're wasting time and you are putting too much effort in to the point where you will probably either get frustrated when that monster dies. You will get frustrated when you don't get the opportunity to use all of those class abilities that you gave the monster, or you're going to unintentionally or intentionally give that monster a bigger role than it should have.
Right.
If the monster is ever doing all sorts of PC stuff, like player character stuff, then they probably are hogging the spotlight a little bit.
Sure, yeah.
Not that a villain shouldn't hog the spotlight in their time.
Yeah.
But like when a villain hogs a spotlight, it's like, oh, they finish an epic ritual that there's no way the players could ever get. Or they command an army of bad guys, or they, do some cool villain thing, none of which are things that the players will have access to.
Right.
So when they do hog the spotlight, it's going to be in a way that an NPC hogs the spotlight and not in the way that a PC hogs the spotlight. Mm-hmm. So it always rubs me the wrong way when I hear something like this, because I feel like, well, that Dungeon Master probably missed the point.
Sure.
And I'm not the only person to have the right to say what the point is. Like I said, if it makes you run a better game, do it.
Yeah.
But just put some thought into, why am I doing it this way? Could I be doing it better? It might just be that that Arcanist Winterbrand's Dungeon Master is new to 5th edition. Maybe they're used to 3rd edition, and this is the simplest way they know to do it. In which case, hey, go for it. Don't let me tell you not to.
Right.
But what I can tell you is try to do it a different way. Instead of thinking to yourself, okay, well, I want the bad guy to have rage, so let me give him a level of Barbarian. Mm-hmm. Okay, and that means he gets to roll a d12. Okay, so he gets 4 hit points. Okay, and then that means his skills. Oh, shoot, he needs this one. He needs he needs this stat in order to multi-class. Okay. No, like, just give him rage.
Yeah,
if you want, you could just take a regular orc or a regular goblin or a beholder or something. Just give him rage. Mm-hmm. If you think it's going to make the fight noticeably harder, bump up the CR 1 point or so.
Yeah,
just that's what you should be doing with monsters. I'm not intimately familiar with the monster creation tools in the Dungeon Master's Guide, but what I understand of them is that generally speaking, you give them the abilities that you want them to have. You look at what the parameters are for the challenge rating you're looking for, and then you adjust it up or down so that it fits within those parameters. You give a monster a bunch of abilities, and then you say, okay, this ability is as powerful as like a CR7, so I need to give him more hit points so that he's a CR7 because his hit points are low. Or, oh, he's a bit too powerful for a CR7. Let me reduce his damage output, reduce a couple other things, and then boom, he's a CR7.
Yeah.
Or, hey, he's a CR9.
Yep.
So if any Dungeon Masters are listening and you are wondering, should I apply class levels to monsters? I'll tell you, don't. Instead, just give them the abilities you want them to have.
Right, yeah. If there's a specific thing you want them to do from a class, just give them that. Like, you don't have to like go through all the levels to get the thing that you want, like a player does.
Right.
You're just like, okay, I want this monster to have evasion. I don't need to have him take, however many levels of rogue or whatever. Just give him evasion.
Yeah. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be any harder than that. If you want to, if you feel better giving them a full-on class, go for it. But that's more work than you need to be putting in. And just try not to get too attached to your bad guys, because spoilers, your bad guys are probably going to die probably much faster than you expect them to.
Sure. Yeah. And if you're going to be like doing this, like adding abilities to a monster, and you're not necessarily like reflavoring them completely, like you're not, making a what was it, a young white dragon.
Oh, a young white dragon. I turned it into a Dwergar with like an Urgrosh.
Right. Yeah. But if it's just supposed to be like, oh, you want this dragon to have rogue levels or something like that, well, you would give it evasion and sneak attack or whatever, but you would describe it as like, okay, this dragon looks like a little bit more agile than most dragons or something. Point out that it is different so that when it does a thing that those monsters don't normally do, your rule lawyers don't go, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, if you do make a change, if you have so far been playing stock standard monsters and you are concerned that one player might cry foul, maybe you have that type of player that
it's hard not to metagame when you know all the monsters.
Sure.
It's not, you should try not to, but it's hard not to.
But so if you do think that somebody might be concerned about that, then drop in some hints about like, oh, this doesn't look like a normal white. You notice this white dragon grabbing some money out of somebody's pocket as it walked by. What was that about?
Right. Wait, I think I've met that dragon on one of my adventures.
Probably. Yeah. So should they be allowed to? Yeah. Should they? No. Can they? Yes.
Yeah.
Don't. There's better ways to do what they're trying to do with that.
Yeah, it just doesn't work as smoothly in 5th edition. So find other ways to get the monster you want.
Sure.
Our next question comes from Arcanist Winterbrand again on email, and they ask, "How do I engage a player in my campaign who is interested in crafting potions and poisons?"
Yeah,
I kind of like this one because these are sort of things that I think of when I'm creating characters. Like I always want to do stuff like this. It's tough because it's sort of one of those like side project things that like can sometimes derail like everybody else's time. It's like like the player is going to stop and ask you like, oh, is there a thing I can make a potion with?
Yeah.
Or every time you kill something, they're like collecting blood or bile or something to make their potions. And like that's it's fun and neat. You just gotta be careful that it's not like a thing that like interrupts the game flow for everybody else every time.
Yeah, if you are like at the point where you're making a subset of rules about if they have orc bile, then that means that the potion they make will last an additional 10 minutes or whatever.
And like I would love to I'm always trying to in my head make these kind of like mechanics because like I like that kind of stuff in games. And I'm like, I'm looking up alternative rules all the time for these sort of things. But like, when you're trying to on the fly come up with a mechanic like that, it's not great.
Yeah. So I mean, like if you have the time and you want to come up with additional rules for that sort of stuff, I guess all the power to you. Be careful not to. I guess what the point I'm trying to make here is that don't make it too powerful, but also don't make it take up too much of the game. Because, if there is only the one player in the group that is doing this, and then every session you like have a new mini game for them, basically.
Right,
like,
yeah.
This question is about how to engage that player. Hey, if the problem is that everybody else has something cool and this player doesn't, maybe that could be the thing.
Yeah, sure.
But if it's not, if it's just like, oh, you want this player to roleplay more, maybe you shouldn't go and create a new game around it just to get them engaged.
Yeah.
There's two things I would recommend. One I think is probably the obvious answer, and then one is I think a less obvious answer that I think could be fun. The obvious answer is make adventures out of it, make quests out of it.
Sure.
If the player is interested in crafting potions and poisons, well, they need a specific reagent, and now they have to go on a quest specifically for that.
Right. You can use that as a hook for the adventure, at least for that that character, but like it's just you might want to make a hook for each character.
Good.
A lot of characters are motivated by gold and some are just motivated by doing good deeds, but like adding in that extra, and also this is where the last the last specimen of this thing exists, so you can go and use that for your potions.
Like, I'm sure we've all been in groups where, there's been an adventure where Susie's character needed to go retrieve that ancestral shield that belonged to her thing. So, like, she was the one that everybody was rallying everybody to go on this quest.
Yeah.
And then this other one where Johnny's character needed to, I don't know, get that spell that would help him stop the dragon that's going to kill the orphanage or something. I don't know. Everybody's, we've had these adventures where one member of the group is like the one who's taking point because this is something for their character.
Yeah, it kind of builds into their background and everything.
So if you're trying to engage the player, if that player that is interested in the poisons and potions just hasn't really had that kind of an opportunity, making an adventure that is just, hey, this is what they want to do. Hey, everybody, let's go on Joe's adventure or whatever.
Right, yeah.
That can be a one way to do it. Maybe also, like you were saying, have there be other motivations for the other players. Maybe they have to go save this shipment of all these reagents. And yes, they need the one for Joe's character to make these poisons, but also there's all this other stuff that they can sell for a ton of money,
Yeah.
It can't hurt to get the other players involved as well, but it's okay for the one character, especially the one who hasn't really had an adventure for them. Mm-hmm. It's fine to have one that is centered around them. Now, another idea I had that maybe, let's say you do want to make a character that is very poison-centric.
Sure.
But you don't just want to have it be that, oh yeah, they need some more poisons so they can just kill more enemies. That's kind of a boring motivation. It's equally as boring as, oh yeah, I want a +2 sword instead of a +1 sword. You can make that into an adventure, but it's less interesting. It's just, hey, I want to go get a thing that is better than the thing I already have.
Sure.
What if instead the player who is all about poisons are contacted by some official body, maybe the king or something, or like the king's black ops organization has heard of their prowess in poisons, and they're like, hey, we want you to help us recognize these poisons. We know that you know more about poisons than we do. We want you to, go on this quest to find out how this other guy is making the poison that he makes.
Right.
And then if you bring back some of his poison and then make some skill checks to reverse engineer it, not only do you get a cool new poison for it, but you're also helping out, you're altruistically maybe helping out somebody else to help make the kingdom safer or whatever. If your character isn't just a murder hobo that wants to go around getting bigger guns to kill people with. Because what comes to mind is the movie Catch Me If You Can. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
It's based on a true story about a guy named Frank Abagnale. He was played by Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie. He was a con artist, I guess.
Yeah.
And one of his big things was check fraud.
Yes.
And he got really, really good at making counterfeit checks. And so, spoilers for the movie, but again, it's based on a true story. He eventually, when he got caught, the government was like, hey, help us identify counterfeit checks.
Yeah.
And we'll reduce your sentence.
It's sort of the basis of the show White Collar.
Okay. I haven't seen it.
He's a con artist who then
played by Leonardo DiCaprio.
No,
I think that's just the movie.
No.
Catch Me If You Can.
No, I forget the name, the actor's name, but
sure.
Yeah, he is caught by an FBI agent, but then that FBI agent like enlists his help to catch other con artists.
Sure, and I mean that's there are. Yeah, that's definitely a common thing. So that could be something you could do in your game if it's not just that you want, okay, let's be evil, let's make some better poisons, let's go on a quest to make better poisons.
Right.
It could be that your character is so good at making poisons that somebody else is like, hey, help us identify those poisons and we'll give you some more poisons.
Right.
It'll break up it'll break up the monotony a little bit by making it more story-based.
Yeah. It's not necessarily something you have to worry about mechanics about. You're just, you're writing an adventure.
Yeah. Because you can engage a player by just being like, oh, here's some more mechanical stuff that is stuff that you are good at.
Yeah.
Or you can be like, hey, some people are interested in what your character is good at. Engage them that way. I think it's probably going to be a better way in the long run.
All right.
So, I didn't really have much else. I just thought that was something that came to mind when I was looking at this question, and I thought would be a good thing to do.
Yeah.
So I think that'll do it for our regular questions today.
Okay.
So we do still have our social media questions. The last social media question was, if you had to make an adventure out of a song, what song would you pick?
Oh, yeah.
Because this was inspired by the Codex of Cotton Eye Joe.
Oh, yeah, the Codex of Cotton Eye Joe. I think I said Weird Al's Albuquerque just because it's a nice long story and it's silly. I feel like I came up with another good one not too long ago, but it's been too long ago, I guess.
Yeah. This is not quite what I meant when I asked the question, but I had an idea, something that I wanted to do in Jay's Eberron campaign that I never actually did. Mm-hmm. I think there was a point where my character found, like, my character was an artificer, and he was real goofy. And I think I found, like, a masterwork lute or something, and I was like, oh man, what if my character learned to play the lute and then like sang a song or something? And then I started, I don't know why, but I started writing a version of the song Erie Canal. Have you ever heard that song?
Yeah.
It's like an old,
I
don't know how old it is, but like, anyway, I started rewriting Erie Canal as if it were about our quest to defeat the Sons of Kyber.
Sure.
And I thought to myself, if I finish this and I am confident enough, I think maybe there will be a time, maybe like right before the final adventure, where I will sing this at the gaming group. Luckily, it never happened. I don't think my self-confidence would let me get that far, but it was a neat idea.
Right. Sure.
So, I mean, it's not quite what I was asking because I didn't take the song and make something. I was rewriting the song to fit what we had done.
Yeah, I'm sure plenty of people who play like bards might try to do that.
Sure. But it came to mind and I thought it'd be a funny story to share. We got a few responses on Facebook. Kyle S. says, well, this one's pretty straightforward, and then put a link to Queen Ogre Battle.
Oh, whoa.
I am not familiar with this song.
Yeah, I do. I guess I'm, like I know plenty of Queen because they're great, but I don't know if I've ever heard of Ogre Battle.
Yeah, I think that's okay. That is, I thought maybe it was like a different band called Queen, but nope, it's Queen. Like,
I mean, Queen's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, we won't be playing it here, of course, but go check out Ogre Battle by Queen. So that is probably a great suggestion. Ela M says, I'm going to be that guy and say I'd build it off the album The Broken Bride by Ludo. Time travel.
Ludo.
Are you familiar with Ludo?
Yeah, I know Ludo. There was like a couple songs of theirs I heard once, and I was like, these guys are great. And I started listening to them for a while, and I only knew maybe one other person that listened to them.
Okay, well, now you've got another one. And so Ela goes on to say, time travel to save a spouse lost in an accident, but the time travel doesn't work quite right and drops you at random spots in history and the future. And you have to deal with where you landed until your time machine recharges.
Yeah. So yeah, this is actually a good point. Like, a lot of albums are stories.
Okay.
Like, they'll tell a story, within an album rather than just in a single song.
Sure.
So I definitely accept this answer. Like, an album is because there are plenty of albums that really just take you on an adventure.
Sure. And this is embarrassing. I didn't read the last part of this message because it was on Facebook and you had to click see more. But this person just said they would appreciate if we would note that their name is pronounced Isla, not Ela. So I apologize. I just said it several times. So I apologize, Isla. I will do my best to fix that in the future. Sorry.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Well, shoot. Now I'm wondering if I've been pronouncing everybody's. Okay. So Nathan H. Sorry. Nathan H. says, funny you should ask. I actually made an adventure out of the song Migraine by 21 Pilots.
Oh, cool.
I'm a fan of 21 Pilots. I'm not familiar with that song, though. So I'm not that big of a fan.
And I've stated before that I'm not huge on music. That's why I get excited when I recognize Ludo, because it's I recognize the name of a band.
Sure.
Woo!
Colin W. says, anything from the Deltron 3030 album, chronicling the adventures of the rapping space mercenary Deltron Zero and his companion, the Automator, to win the intergalactic rap battle.
Oh, rap, not rat.
Rap, yes. A rat battle, though, I would want to convince those rats to stop fighting. Cuddle each other.
Cuddle each other. It's adorable.
Yes. Ryan P says, Highway to Hell. Wait, that might be Descent into Avernus.
Ooh.
Looks like Wizards of the Coast beat you to it. Oh my goodness. Okay. And then, Brandon, who is actually a friend of mine, he was, Brandendorf. He was on a bonus episode of our show a long time ago. Brandon, he lives, one of our friends down in Georgia. Brandon said there's only one answer, and I totally agree. It's by Rhapsody. I'm actually not familiar with this particular song. I'm familiar with Dawn of Victory by Rhapsody.
Okay.
But I think this song references something from Dawn of Victory because the song is called Emerald Sword.
Oh, cool.
By Rhapsody.
Nice.
So, yes, Rhapsody's music is very much like heavy metal, volcanoes and dragons and demons and so on and so on.
Sure.
So definitely fits.
Yeah.
Then Tommy D says literally anything from Iron Maiden.
Okay.
There you go. So, some broad answers seems we're getting.
And I know some of these words.
Yes. On Reddit, we just got 2 responses. Pruno says, isn't The Lord of the Rings just I'm Gonna Be by the Proclaimers?
What?
AKA the I would walk 500 miles.
Oh, yeah.
It's called I'm Gonna Be. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess so. And then Alistar the Minotaur says, Iron Man by Black Sabbath. The BBEG is already set up for you as a long-dormant Warforged comes back to life and begins ravaging the world. As the players find out more about him, they realize his is a war of retaliation for centuries of abuse and neglect from a people he was once a hero to.
Oh, I like that.
There you go. See, I thought this would be a good question to ask, and I think we've gotten some great responses. Over on Twitter, Crit Academy says Symphony of Destruction. I'm not familiar with that, but there's a gif of Lestat the vampire looking guy in a jail cell, which I think might be from the music video. I don't know. PM Karen says, songs have been part of my games for decades. I have crafted adventures from several songs: Rush's Distant Early Warning and Bytor and the Snow Dog, Judas Priest's Stained Glass and the Ripper, and Bob Dylan's Mr. Tambourine Man, All Along the Watchtower, Joker Man, and My Back Pages.
And I know Rush well enough, and Rush has got a lot of good ones.
Very much, yeah. Lunger H says Hotel California. That could work.
Yeah,
that could work.
Yeah, for sure.
There was an episode of the TV show Sliders that was very much reminiscent of the song Hotel California.
Sure.
So that, modern fantasy, but that could work.
What's the song that's supposed to be able to be paired up with like Wizard of Oz? Is it?
Oh, it's the album Dark Side of the Moon.
Right. Okay.
And I'm, a bit of a tangent. I'm gonna go on the record and say that I'm pretty sure from what I have, I've never watched the two together, but the bits that I have seen and heard other people talk about, my guess is that it is just a big coincidence because like there are parts that line up, but from what I've heard, there's a lot of other parts that really don't line up.
Okay.
That you think would have been, if it was their intention to line them up, they could have done better. They could have done a much better job. Yeah. Also, they've gone on the record and said no. That's
but
not intentional.
But anybody who is,
that's exactly what they would say.
Right, exactly. Anybody who is a conspiracy theorist is always they're never gonna believe that.
Sure. I just think, there are probably thousands of those that we've just never tried.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And then Mike K on Twitter says the Battle of Cartagena by the band Ailstorm, which is based on a real historical event. I hope I said that right. Is it Cartagena? Cartagena?
Cartagena.
I mean, that might be it. Sorry, I am usually someone that does try to pronounce things correctly,
Sure.
So I very much apologize, Isla, especially for not having read that before recording.
Cartagena.
Cartagena. Enough of this.
This is also a good excuse for people to post music they like.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's not good, though.
And we've got a lot on Discord. I'll probably try to just do a few of them. P-Story Pancake says, this one is an easy one, actually, because most songs of... I just talked about how I like to pronounce things right, and then P-Story Pancakes has to butt in with stuff from other countries.
Right.
Most songs of Shandmal.
Shandmal.
Shandmal lend themselves really well to D&D. I personally would probably go with Dry Prufungen. There's even upside down quotation marks in there. And then in parentheses, she says, a song about a guy being sent on an errand by a witch so she can make the girl he is in love with fall in love with him, just to discover that all ingredients are actually part of himself.
Beast Joy, please let us know if Gabe's pronunciation made you cringe.
Please don't let us know.
I'm pretty sure she's a stickler for those things too.
Probably. And hey, I mean, that's what I get for
trying.
No, that's what I get for not branching out.
Sure.
Not expanding my horizons to any country but my own.
Right.
So, E. Thompson 03 says, Highway to Hell. It's almost like it was written for D&D.
Yep.
There you go. The Beverage Tea, The End by the Doors. Floofy Shoob says, The Ballad of Irving. Stiltskin Kupu 84 says, Bohemian Rhapsody or The Prophet's Song by Queen.
Sure.
So some more Queen.
Mm-hmm.
Damien the DM posted a few. The Fifth Extinction by Arion or the Sixth. Or really darn near any Arion song, though 01011001 is a particularly good album for it, because the theme is a future spacefaring civilization traveling back to Earth because they have basically ruined their planet.
So yeah, very like fantasy sci-fi in inspired.
Sure.
I blanked.
Thoen Frostax says, this question is perfect for me. The first answer, let's talk about The Sword. Their first two albums, Winter Wolves and Gods of Earth, are heavily influenced from pagan beliefs. 3 witches you shall meet upon the road to your fate. The first at twilight, the second at night, and the third at the coming of day. Trey Brujas. I brought it upon myself.
What have you done?
Then their fourth album, Apocryphon, has a song that inspired a magic item I gave one of my players. She wore a cloak of feathers and rode a mare of purest white, eyes of hazel green, a look of sadness in her eyes, a beauty to behold, but a sorrow to possess. She'll take all that you offer until there's nothing left.
Huh.
But the ultimate inspiration for D&D has got to be Glory Hammer. And I actually, if I can interrupt, I think we had a song-related question a long time ago, and I think Glory Hammer was something somebody recommended for that one.
Okay.
I was asking, like, what are some songs that you pump yourself up with before a game?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay.
And Thoen Frostax says, if you haven't seen them, you're in for a treat. They dress up like D&D characters and play power metal about unicorns, ancient swords, and wizards. Their video for Hoots Force has submarines flying through space. It's literally Spelljammer.
Good.
There you go. 00 Jiminy Cricket says, I love this question because songs are fire, and fire is adventure, and adventures are songs. Whatever. Answer is Stadium Arcadium. Yes, it's an album, but a badass album in my opinion.
Yeah. The album. I feel like albums probably might have been the better way to go, but this definitely sparks some good answers.
Yeah. We won't go into it here, but Dustin F poses an alternate question. What story song would make the worst campaign?
Oh, okay.
And just one that I will, because there were some responses, one that I will address is the Beverage Tea says Barbie Girl by Aqua. That would make an awesome campaign. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, Jason E. on Discord says, I want to write an adventure about a druid who hangs out on a beach of white hot sand and just wants to get everyone to eat his bananas. He would attack the party asking, do you want a banana? Peel it down and go, He would also have 5 Zimbabwe songbirds as animal companions. They would be red, yellow, green, blue, and silver. They would sing, do you want a banana? This banana for you. And that is, of course, referring to the national anthem.
The national anthem.
American national anthem.
Yeah.
That's Banana Man by Tally Hall.
The InterPartyConflict national anthem.
I love that we have a country now and it's InterPartyConflictia. Okay. So there was some more discussion in there, particularly about what songs would make bad campaigns. But that was the last social media question. So thank you very much to everybody who responded. And then the next social media question is a simpler one.
Sure.
paper character sheets versus digital ones.
Oh.
Your thoughts?
I create my characters digitally.
Yep.
And then I try to remember before the session to copy it down onto paper.
Okay.
Because I like having it paper because it's just right there. I don't have to crap my phone screen turned off or whatever. But like I like building it on my phone and then copying onto paper. It's just a regular standard character sheet usually does me good.
Okay. Cool. I sometimes do what you described, but most of the time I got to start on paper and end on paper.
Sure.
It's just easier for me to like, I don't even use a character sheet most of the time. I'll usually just have a blank sheet of paper. That way I know what information, like, okay, I need to figure out his hit points. I put HP at the top and then I figure out his hit points, put it right there.
Right.
Next I need to do saves. So I write out the saves. Okay. Now I got to do that. It's just, it's my own way of making sure that I have everything done.
Sure.
Because if I haven't written it down, I didn't do it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Because the character sheets are like can feel a little cluttered and like it's hard to see where everything is and if you filled everything out. And so I'm excited to hear what people think. Again, simpler than the last question. Really, only 2 answers, but I mean, there was when I was very young and playing second edition, AD&D.
Yeah. I think AD&D was something.
Was it something
I think
else?
there was D&D, AD&D, and then second edition. I could be wrong.
I can't remember.
I'll look it up and I'll cut this out.
I feel like it was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, which was the first thing that Steve and I played together.
Okay.
But I I made my own character sheets.
Yeah.
I had this big like construction paper that you could fold into, you could fold in half and it'd be about the size of a regular piece of paper. So I made little character booklets.
That's pretty cool.
And I took a ruler and blocked everything out, gave room for all like the saves and everything like that. And then my parents took one look at it and went, "How come you don't put that much effort into your homework?" And I went,
"Because homework isn't fun.
Right.
You're not doing homework by choice." I think my very first introduction to anything D&D whatsoever, before I actually played anything, before I read a book, a D&D book, was I found my brother Tim had been playing D&D with my Aunt Donna. And he did that with his character sheet. He wrote things out. He drew pictures. Like he had like his inventory.
Yep.
And he would draw a little picture of each item next to what it said.
Yep.
He would have like rations, and then he would draw the number of rations that he had.
Yeah.
I thought like, this is so cool.
Right.
And then many years later, I got into D&D, and there was none of that. Because I don't have any talent.
Well, it's not even that. I feel like there's not like everything's so cluttered and fast paced and we don't have time. It's like I don't have time to draw out my inventory because I don't even have time to play the game.
That's true. This was probably like 1990. There were like 2 TV shows to watch.
Right.
Then.
Like the booklet character sheets. I mean, I left a space for drawing my character, or, I probably would draw like their weapon or something like that. Like I would draw like a weapon and their like equipment and things like that. So so that's, definitely my answer would be I prefer paper because of things like that. Like I like doodling and taking notes, and like I'll write notes on my character sheet. Like I write names of NPCs and, any little treasure I see, I can write it down. I can be like, I'm going to pick that up and just write it down.
I'm going to try something.
Okay.
I'm going to do this for my next character. The next character I make to actually play, because I don't really get to play very often, but next time I do, I'm going to draw my character's weapon.
Okay. Yeah.
Whatever weapon, even if it's just a boring old longsword or whatever.
Sure.
I'm going to draw it.
Yeah.
It's not going to look good, but I'm still going to draw it.
Yeah. Because nowadays I'm lazy. If I want to get an image for my character, I go on Pinterest and find somebody's fantasy artwork, which is fun because there's some really talented people out there that make some really cool characters. And like a lot of times I'll see the character on Pinterest and be like, I want to make that. Yeah. Like I had an idea for what I wanted to do. And so I was like, I was going to make an orc barbarian. So I typed in orc barbarian in Pinterest, and I was like, no, I want to make that orc barbarian.
Right. That's cool. So yeah, I'm going to try to do that. And I challenge all of you to try to do the same. See if it gets you more engaged in your character.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe it will.
Yep.
All right. Well, that'll do it for our questions for today. But before we close out, let's take a deep breath. Let's wind down a little bit. Let's relax. Let's remember those who have come before us, who have given their lives so the world may be a better place, as we toss another log onto the funeral pyre. Today's funeral pyre was submitted by Hopeless Necromantic Necromancer on Reddit.
Hopeless Necromantic. Oh, I love it.
Yep. There was a fighting game for Dreamcast called Tech Romancer.
Tech Romancer.
Tech Romancer, yeah.
Oh.
I think it was 2 different words.
Okay. Huh.
And I think you were in a mech, and it was a mech fighting game.
It was a mech dating game. We're making this game.
Mech Romancer.
Mech Romancer.
You find dead mech pilots, bring them back to life, and then get them to go out on dates.
Yeah. It's like you're the head of a matchmaking service, but but you match people up with their perfect match. But a lot of times those are dead people. Yep. It's like, yeah. This is your perfect match, but they died 100 years ago. You bring them back to life so they can date.
There you go. What if the 2 of them get along, but their mechs don't like each other? So, story goes as follows. Rolled a natural 1 on a reaction attack against an enemy attacking me. House rule, roll percentile to see what the critical fumble is. Attack yourself. Natural 20. Percentiles for the crit. Nat hundo. Instant death.
Oh my goodness.
So an enemy charged my half-orc ranger, and before he got there, the half-orc cut his own head off. The enemy skipped his turn in confusion, so there's that at least.
He was like in shock.
Yep. He immediately turned his life around. He becomes the new PC because he's like, guys, I'm sorry. I have to make this up to you. I don't know what I did, but
yeah, he's that player's character now. That'd be amazing.
Oh boy, because we had that one recently where I think it was Justin's character was killed by his new character.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that complicated.
Right. Yeah.
Your character kills himself.
Oh my god! Like an orc is covered in the guy's blood. He's just like, what have I been doing with my life?
I'm of course reminded of the movie. Have you seen the movie Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
Yes,
that definitely comes to mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, go watch the movie if you haven't. So let's raise a glass in memory of Hopeless Necromantic Necromancer's half-orc ranger, who reminds us critical fumble rules are bad and you should feel bad. Clink. All right, that'll do it for today. To submit questions for us to discuss, items for the Dragon's Hoard, or stories for the funeral pyre, please email us at interpartyconflict@gmail.com. If you want to see our show notes, links to media mentioned on the show, and running lists of questions and magic items, go to interpartyconflict.com. You can join the discussion on social media. Find us on Facebook. We are on Reddit. Find us on our Interparty Discord or on Twitter @InPartyConflict for our weekly social media questions. And if you answer them, your answers might end up on the show. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, YouTube, anywhere you download podcasts. Please, please, please leave us a rating, leave us a review, subscribe to us, or just tell a friend. Word of mouth goes a very long way in the podcasting world.
Yep.
With the algorithms and such, reviews go a very long way as well, too.
Yes, yeah.
But just tell a friend, doesn't cost you anything, and,
Yep.
If you'd like to support the show monetarily, speaking of costing you something, check out the rewards at patreon.com/interpartyconflict. We have a few different tiers, so anything you can spare, even $1 a month, will go towards making the show better, and you'll get bonus content for it. Jeff, tell us about FriendQuest.
FriendQuest is our YouTube channel where we play video games, and I promise we're going to be putting up something sometime soon. Griff is at his new job, and he's loving it.
Okay.
And he's like, I'm actually home, on time. Like, I'm actually, I get out of work at 5 and not like 9 some nights. And I'm really happy for him. He seems to be much, much happier. So we're going to be, able to get a schedule going again.
Awesome. Hopefully you get some stuff up soon.
Yep.
Speaking of video games, you can check out my side project, the Arcade Memories Podcast. If you'd like to submit anything for it, you can send them to me at arcadememoriespodcast@gmail.com. Also, head over to bit.ly/interpartyconflict to take a short survey about our show. What you like, what you don't like, etc. And just for taking it, you'll get 2 free printable board games courtesy of Mary and Tom over at hollandspiel.com. And our music is made by Boxcat Games from Nameless the Hacker's RPG. So, Jeff, until next time,
don't date your undead thrall. Come on.
There you go.